In the past year, the unemployment rate reached its highest level in 26 years.
The income basically disappeared overnight.
We have no confidence in our leadership.
I didn't know anyone who I could have reached out to.
Today's down day on Wall Street was the largest drop in 2 months.
I was doing what I could just to keep bread on the table.
A new report finds a jump last month in the initiation of foreclosures.
I took a terrible downturn. I lost my home.
We are at a point now where more Americans are living in poverty.
The anxiety index is at an all-time high. A lot of us are saying to ourselves, okay, what do I do?
Now's the time to start reimagining your life.
Life Reimagined is a new way of approaching the thought about what you have to do next with your life. It's an answer to the question, where do I go from here?
You get to a point where you're like, wow, I'm getting older now. Like, am I gonna spend my entire life doing work that doesn't mean anything to me?
I find people asking their own version of this what's next question. And I love that Life Reimagined actually invites us to ask the question and also to explore the answer.
Maybe, just maybe, I can find my niche somehow.
If I'm in my 50s or 60s now, I may decide I have to go out and fashion my own job. When I was in my 20s, I didn't have to do that.
I'm really about, okay, can I achieve and make people's life better by what I do?
Life Reimagined, there's a lot of steps and a lot of ways to define it, but ultimately it's the power of purpose. It's an attitude about creating what you want. And first of all, figuring out what it is you want.
You know, where am I going? What's this all about for me? What do I really want to do?
We have this opportunity to create a new vision of the American dream, where it is less about entitlement and more about empowerment.
I knew we could do a farm because we were raised on a farm. Changing from the housing authority where I had been for the last 11 years was pretty secure, had good benefits, good pay, but my job became more and more difficult. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I decided to take the plunge. It was scary, yes, but it was scarier to stay where I was at.
It feels risky. It feels scary to take the big, people call it the big leap.
The income that we're deriving from all of this is a slow process. You just gotta learn to work around it and keep going with the flow and don't give up. And that's a pretty hard challenge sometimes.
Failure is part of the game. You have to be willing to fail. Man is always moving towards his new ideas and new visions.
Pay attention to your yearnings, the things that you always think about that you'd love to do someday.
What is that one thing that gets you so excited the sun can't come up soon enough in the morning because you want to go do your thing?
I'm a broadcast technician for a TV station in Baltimore. A new idea that I had was to become a nutritionist. Eating well, eating healthy, choosing proper foods. This became a passion of mine. So I began to educate myself on how to feed the body. And in doing so, I discovered the principle of juicing. That passion, I turned into a business. So I started a little company called Juice to Live. Juicing is a great way to supplement a healthy diet. At my church, when I do the seminars on juicing, people sometimes for the very first time, they taste a fresh carrot juice.
Delicious.
That's great. It gives me such a sense of satisfaction.
By doing the inventory of yourself, it's very satisfying to find out, I really have these tremendous gifts.
I was 49 years old when I got laid off, which is a terrifying age to be laid off. It was awful. It was really awful. And I told some of the neighborhood ladies that I wanted to start a band. What's really weird is none of us played instruments. Even though we weren't making money doing it, like we had more than our share of like rock and roll moments. We were like in People magazine. We opened for the B-52s. Like all these amazing things were happening to us and we were having the time of our lives. I'm so glad that I started that band because it gave me an amazing set of skills that I didn't realize I had. I have this set of writing skills that grew out of writing press releases for a band. So now I work for Patch. Patch is like online community news. Every day I go out and I report on things that matter in my city.
Can you imagine quitting a job that you have had for 2 decades to pursue this? That's where the risk is. That's the decisions that I'm sure many entrepreneurs have to face. I have to ask myself the question, what if?
I did that what if. It didn't always work. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But I'm darn proud of the ones that did. It's such a wonderful feeling. I'm doing something that makes me happy. No better way to live.
All of us want to live a better life than we lead.
Stop thinking about trying to find a job and start thinking about how can I create an opportunity.
Once you've taken that step, I think you'll find that there's just a wealth of support out there. You really don't have to do this by yourself.
You need to decide what you feel passionate about and what your values are. That'll lead you forward.
When people are trying to reimagine their life, they prove to be a lot more creative than they ever thought they were going to be.
People always think like, oh, did people think you were crazy and you were having a midlife crisis and this and that? No, you know, everybody was happy for me because they saw that I was happy.
Name your game. Decide what you want your life to be about and live that life from the inside out on purpose.
When I'm asked, where do I start? My response is always, let's start where we are.